When most people hear the words chronic kidney disease, a chill runs down their spine. The story that usually follows is simple and grim. Your kidneys are failing, and the only future ahead is dialysis. It feels like a sentence, like a one-way street with no turns, no exits, and no way back. But what if I told you that this isn't always the whole truth? I've seen too many patients over 50 told there was no choice, only to later discover that small changes made at the right time could help them reclaim years of freedom, energy, and joy. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. In this video, I'm going to share a 3-step plan plus one powerful bonus practice that your doctor may not have had the time or the training to explain. Stay with me because what you learn today might just save your kidneys, and with them, your independence. When I sit down with patients who are frightened about their lab results, one of the first things I ask is not about medicine, but about the food on their plates. Because here's the truth. Before we can talk about healing, we have to stop the slow, silent poison that wears down the kidneys every day. Imagine your kidneys as two coffee filters that never get a break. Every drop of blood passes through them, day and night. Now picture sprinkling sand into that coffee filter. Grain by grain, it clogs, weakens, and tears. That's what certain foods and additives do inside your body. Sodium is one of the most insidious culprits. Not just the salt you sprinkle on your dinner, but the hidden sodium in soups, breads, cereals, and sauces. I once had a patient named Harold, 72 years old, who prided himself on never adding salt at the table. Yet his blood pressure was climbing, and his creatinine was edging higher every month. When we looked closely at his diet, we discovered his so-called healthy low-fat frozen meals contained nearly 900 milligrams of sodium each. 3 meals a day meant he was doubling the safe daily limit for kidney patients without even knowing it. When we swapped those meals for fresh cooked options with herbs and lemon instead of salt, his blood pressure dropped within weeks. But sodium is only the beginning. Another hidden enemy is phosphorus additives. These are used to keep processed foods shelf-stable. Things like deli meats, packaged pastries, even flavored creamers for your morning coffee. Natural phosphorus, like the kind in beans or nuts, is absorbed slowly. But synthetic phosphorus from additives is absorbed almost completely, flooding the blood and setting off a dangerous cascade. It combines with calcium, forming deposits that stiffen arteries and scar delicate kidney tissue. The tragedy is that by the time phosphorus levels show up high on a blood test, the damage has already been taking place for years. Then there's protein. Now I know the message for years has been, eat more protein, especially lean chicken or fish. But when kidneys are struggling, too much protein is like forcing a tired worker to pull an extra night shift every night. One woman I worked with, Maria, was 61 and faithfully following a high-protein diet for weight loss. She was eating eggs in the morning, chicken at lunch, fish at dinner. Her lab numbers kept worsening. When we reduced her protein to a kidney-safe range and added more plant-based sources like lentils and flax, her kidney function stabilized and her energy returned. She told me, "I didn't realize I was overworking my kidneys just trying to eat healthy." And we cannot ignore sugar. Even in people without diabetes, hidden sugars chip away at kidney health. Sugary cereals, granola bars, fruit juices, these spike blood sugar, damage small vessels, and feed inflammation. The #1 cause of end-stage kidney disease in America is uncontrolled blood sugar. Cutting back on sugar isn't about deprivation. It's about giving your kidneys a fighting chance. What can you do starting today? Begin by becoming a detective at the grocery store. Read those labels, not just for calories, but for sodium, phosphorus, protein, and added sugars. If the sodium content of a serving is more than 200 milligrams, think twice. If you see phos in the ingredient list, phosphate, phosphoric acid, sodium phosphate, put it back on the shelf. Choose foods in their simplest form: fresh vegetables, whole fruits, lean proteins in modest amounts, and unprocessed grains. Use garlic, rosemary, thyme, and lemon juice to season instead of salt. If your phosphorus is already high, ask your doctor whether binders are right for you. They can catch phosphorus in the gut before it enters the bloodstream. I like to think of this step as turning off the fire hose that's flooding your kidneys. Before healing, before nourishment, before supplements, we have to stop pouring in the daily damage. When my patients embrace this shift, they often feel lighter, clearer, and more in control within weeks. And that's when we can move to the next step, nourishing those hardworking filters so they don't just survive, but actually begin to thrive again. Now that we've quieted the storm of daily kidney damage, we can turn to something more hopeful, giving your kidneys the nourishment they need to repair and restore. Think of each nephron, the tiny filtering unit inside your kidneys, as a tired gardener. If you only stop the weeds from growing but never bring water or sunlight, the garden will never flourish. Healing requires not just avoiding harm, but providing the building blocks of health. One of the most powerful tools is omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats, found in fish like salmon, sardines, and plant sources like flaxseed or chia, act like a soothing balm over inflamed tissues. In kidney disease, inflammation is a constant whisper, slowly scarring the filters. Omega-3s quiet that whisper, reducing protein leakage in urine and lowering inflammation markers. A large review published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition showed that omega-3 supplementation significantly improved proteinuria, one of the strongest predictors of kidney failure. For many of my patients, adding a tablespoon of ground flaxseed to morning oatmeal or enjoying grilled salmon once a week became both delicious and healing. Vitamin D is another unsung hero. Most adults over 50 are deficient, partly because we spend less time in direct sunlight and partly because aging skin produces less vitamin D. Low vitamin D isn't just about weak bones. It disrupts calcium balance, worsens parathyroid activity, and accelerates kidney decline. When I tested levels in my patient Ruth, a 68-year-old retired teacher, she was shocked to see how low they were. After carefully restoring her vitamin D levels, not only did her labs improve, but she noticed less fatigue and more resilience in her daily walks. Magnesium is a quiet partner in kidney health. While it often hides in the background, it helps reduce phosphate absorption, calms blood vessels, and even supports better sleep. Foods like pumpkin seeds, almonds, and leafy greens are good sources, though we must balance them carefully to avoid excess potassium. This is where low potassium foods shine. Red bell peppers, cabbage, cauliflower. They're like a gift basket for the kidneys, nutrient-rich, flavorful, but safe for those watching potassium levels. Then there's coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. This is the spark plug in your kidney cells, helping them generate energy to keep filtering blood 24 hours a day. A small but compelling clinical trial showed that CoQ10 supplementation improved kidney filtration rates in people with chronic kidney disease. When I explained this to my patient Harold, the same man struggling with sodium overload, he smiled and said, "So my kidneys are like a car battery, and this is jumper cables?" Exactly. We added CoQ10 under supervision, and within months his energy for gardening returned, something he thought he'd lost forever. We also can't ignore the role of metabolic acidosis. When kidneys weaken, the body can become slightly too acidic, like soil that's lost its balance. This acidity accelerates bone loss, muscle breakdown, and kidney scarring. The antidote isn't complicated. Alkaline-forming foods like fresh vegetables, especially cauliflower, red bell peppers, and cabbage, help shift the balance back. Think of it as bringing fresh rainwater to that tired garden, restoring its natural rhythm. But nourishment doesn't mean throwing every superfood into the basket without care. High oxalate foods like spinach and beets, often praised as healthy, can backfire for kidneys by raising stone risk and oxidative stress. And not every product labeled renal-friendly is actually safe. Many contain hidden additives. Even calcium, often taken for bones, can be harmful if phosphorus levels are high, leading to dangerous deposits in the vessels. This is why guidance matters. Nourishment is powerful, but it must be balanced. I'll never forget a patient named Elaine, age 60. She had been told dialysis was just around the corner because of her high creatinine and persistent proteinuria. Together, we reshaped her diet, not deprivation, but intentional nourishment. She filled her plate with blueberries and garlic roasted cauliflower, swapped butter for olive oil, and learned to season with herbs instead of salt. Over 6 months, her proteinuria dropped nearly 40%. Her nephrologist was astonished. Elaine told me, "For the first time, I feel like I'm helping my kidneys instead of just waiting for them to fail." That's the beauty of this step. When you nourish the nephrons, you send your kidneys a message. You are worth protecting, worth healing. The body has remarkable resilience, even in the later chapters of life. And when your kidneys feel supported, the whole body responds. More energy, clearer mind, stronger bones, steadier heart. If cutting kidney killers is about removing harm and nourishing nephrons is about feeding strength, then this third step is about ensuring the life force itself, blood, moves freely and gently through those fragile filters. Your kidneys are only the size of your fists, yet they receive nearly a quarter of the heart's output with every beat. Imagine two sponges placed under a waterfall. If the water rushes too hard, the fibers tear. If it trickles too weakly, the sponge dries and cracks. Both extremes damage the tissue. For kidneys, the balance of blood flow and pressure is everything. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer for good reason. You don't feel it rising, but every surge stiffens the tiny vessels inside the kidneys, leaving scars that can never fully heal. For people with kidney disease, the target is clear. Keep blood pressure below 130/80. This isn't just a number, it's the line between slowing decline and accelerating toward dialysis. I once cared for a gentleman named Frank who insisted his blood pressure was fine because he felt no symptoms. But when we checked at home, his average was 160/95. Within months of making changes, including walking daily and cutting processed foods, his numbers settled closer to the safe range. His creatinine stabilized too, showing us that pressure control is kidney protection. But blood pressure isn't the only piece. Many older adults with kidney disease also struggle with anemia. Low red blood cells. Without enough oxygen carriers, kidneys are starved, just as surely as a fire dwindles without air. Addressing anemia through iron, B vitamins, or specific medications doesn't just improve energy, it literally brings breath back to the kidney tissue. Nature offers quiet allies here as well. Foods and herbs that boost nitric oxide, like beets, watermelon, or supplements with L-arginine, help blood vessels relax and widen. Think of them as gentle gardeners loosening the soil, allowing water to flow evenly rather than in damaging bursts. One of my favorite kidney-friendly supports is beetroot powder. Even a teaspoon stirred into water can help circulation and lower pressure modestly. Patients often tell me they feel warmer hands and feet, a sign that flow is improving throughout the body. Movement is another medicine. You don't need marathons, just steady, gentle walking. A 30-minute stroll each day lowers blood pressure, balances sugar, and improves mood. I had a patient, Denise, who called her daily walk her dialysis delayer. Rain or shine, she circled her neighborhood, and over the years, her kidney function remained stable, while others her age declined. Herbal teas can also lend a hand. Hibiscus tea has been shown in studies to lower blood pressure naturally. Celery seed tea is another traditional remedy, acting like a mild diuretic to ease pressure without straining the kidneys. Compare this with non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. NSAIDs like ibuprofen or naproxen, which many older adults take daily for aches. These drugs constrict kidney blood flow, like clamping a hose, and can accelerate decline. I always urge my patients, avoid NSAIDs if you have kidney concerns, and speak with your doctor about safer alternatives. Hydration is equally delicate. Too little water thickens the blood, stressing the kidneys. Too much floods the system, creating swelling and shortness of breath. The key is balance. Enough to keep urine pale yellow, not clear as water and not dark as tea. Monitoring at home becomes an act of empowerment. Check your blood pressure regularly. Track your fluids. Notice patterns. Even caffeine deserves attention. In small amounts, coffee and tea can be safe. But for those with high blood pressure, excess caffeine is like fuel on the fire. Scaling back can ease strain without giving up the comfort of a warm cup. When patients embrace these circulation-supporting habits, I often see something remarkable. They not only protect kidney function, but also notice sharper memory, better sleep, and stronger stamina. That's because healthy blood flow is the foundation of every organ, not just the kidneys. So remember, optimizing blood flow and pressure is not about perfection. It's about gentle consistency. A calm river nurtures life along its banks. A raging flood or a stagnant swamp destroys it. Your kidneys depend on you to guide the current wisely. There's one more piece of this puzzle, and it's one that many people never hear about until it's almost too late. Protein leakage or proteinuria. Imagine your kidneys as a coffee filter. They're supposed to let the clean brew drip through while keeping the grounds inside. But when that filter is damaged, little bits of grounds, proteins, start slipping into the cup. At first, you might not even notice. But over time, the more protein that leaks, the faster the filter tears apart. That's why proteinuria is one of the earliest and most powerful predictors of kidney failure. If you can reduce protein leakage, you don't just slow decline, you give your kidneys a fighting chance. One surprisingly effective approach is intermittent fasting. When done safely, especially under guidance, giving the kidneys a break from constant digestion reduces pressure inside the filters. It's like letting an overworked employee rest for part of the day. When they return, they can handle their job better. Studies have shown that time-restricted eating improves insulin sensitivity and reduces glomerular pressure, the very strain that drives protein leakage. For older adults, even a simple pattern like finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and waiting until 9 a.m. for breakfast can make a difference. Natural compounds can also play a role. Berberine, a plant extract long used in traditional medicine, has shown promise in lowering blood sugar and reducing inflammation. Two forces that drive proteinuria. I remember a patient named Lila who came to me with stubborn protein leakage despite multiple medications. After carefully adding berberine alongside her existing plan, her lab results showed a 30% drop in urine protein over 10 weeks. But more importantly, she said, "Doctor, I don't feel like I'm circling the drain anymore." Turmeric, with its active ingredient curcumin, is another ally. Known for its anti-inflammatory properties, turmeric doesn't just ease joint pain, it also reduces kidney inflammation and protein loss. A teaspoon added to soups or golden milk tea can be both comforting and therapeutic. But supplements aren't the whole story. Food timing and quality matter just as much. Large, heavy protein meals overwhelm the filters, while spreading protein intake throughout the day eases the burden. Choosing plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, and tofu provides nourishment without the same acid load as heavy meats. A low-acid, moderate protein, high-fiber diet creates an environment where kidneys can breathe easier. Fiber from foods like flaxseed, cabbage, and berries not only improves digestion, but also helps clear toxins the kidneys might struggle with. Something as simple as elevating your legs for 15 to 20 minutes each day can also help. Swelling in the ankles is a common sign of proteinuria, reflecting fluid imbalance. By raising the legs, circulation improves, pressure decreases, and the kidneys gain relief. Small daily rituals like this may seem trivial, but they add up to real protection. I recall one of my most inspiring patients, George, who combined intermittent fasting with turmeric and gentle dietary changes. He used to leave puddles of swelling in his socks by evening. After 3 months, not only had his swelling improved, but his lab markers of proteinuria fell sharply. His wife told me, "He has hope again. He believes he might dance at our granddaughter's wedding after all." That's the power of targeting protein leakage. It's not just numbers on a page. It's the restoration of future moments that matter most. So while cutting kidney killers, nourishing nephrons, and optimizing blood flow form the foundation, reducing proteinuria is like patching the tiny tears in the filter. It doesn't just slow the leak, it helps preserve the integrity of the whole system. And when the leaks are controlled, the kidneys can last far longer than you've been told to believe. You've just walked with me through a journey most doctors rarely take the time to share. We've seen how cutting out the hidden kidney killers can stop the daily assaults, how nourishing the nephrons can breathe strength back into fragile filters, and how optimizing blood flow and pressure creates the calm current kidneys need to thrive. And finally, we uncovered the secret of protein leakage, the quiet warning sign that, if addressed, can delay dialysis and restore hope. My message to you is simple. Dialysis is not destiny. Your choices, what you eat, how you move, how you care for your circulation, carry immense power. Even small, steady steps can create big changes over time. So as you put these habits into practice, remember that your kidneys are not just organs. They are lifelines to freedom, energy, and joy. Stay hopeful, stay consistent, and stay tuned. Your best years can still be ahead.